Welcome to the office of Storytel here in the historic places where the first book was printed 600 years ago. We're in the building of Norstedts at Riddarholmen in Stockholm. My name is Jonas Tellander. I'm CEO of Storytel, and with me here today I have Sofie Zettergren, our CFO. So starting off with the Q4 2017 results. Well, looking at the subscriber base, we've seen over the year a 48% increase from previous year, which we are really happy about. That's a really good growth rate. And looking at the revenues, it's actually the same, 48% increase. The Q4 quarter specifically, we grew 33,000 subscribers up to 533,000 subscribers, and our streaming revenues grew to 209 million. So that's a good quarter. What do you say?
It's a very good quarter, and looking at the profit levels, we can see that in Q4 we're making a small profit, which is mainly driven by our print business, which we now have a very solid and profitable business here in Sweden with Norstedts Förlagsgrupp, who are on a full year making an operating profit of 32 million Swedish krona. So
an 8% margin,
yes,
which is very good in that business.
So it's a fantastic year for Norstedts, and it's really driven by many years of hard work, cost control and focus from the staff and the management team.
Although they do have the Millennium 5 book this year, I think that's not really what drives the really good results. It's also a lot of other books, as you say, very good cost savings on printing, on distribution, and all sorts of aspects. And also very nice, we can see that the children imprint, Rabén and Sjögren, makes a very strong year and contributes well to the profit.
Yeah, and actually all business units are now contributing to the profit, so that's very welcoming.
And with us here today we have Derek Laliberté from ABG, who's going to ask us a few questions. So over to you, Derek.
Good morning, guys, and thank you for taking my questions. My first question relates to the subscriber intake, which has been very impressive, especially in the international markets, but also in Sweden, where you grew by 27% despite having reached a significant subscriber base of 300,000 subscribers. At this point, I think some investors might be concerned that we'll see a sharp drop-off in subscriber intake, given that competition has increased quite a bit recently, and that you have reached this elevated base. So could you please tell us a bit about how the first quarter of 2018 has started, and also if you have a growth rate targeted for the full year? Thank you.
Yes, so what's maybe more interesting to look at is the growth in absolute figures, so in added paying subscribers. And if we look at Sweden, the last couple of years we grew with around 60,000 paying subscribers, which we also grew within 2017, and we have the goal to grow with the same pace also next year, which will mean a relative growth of around 20% in Sweden. Looking at Q1, we think that we will grow with around 10,000 customers in Sweden, the same growth as we had in Q1 2017. International will grow with around 30,000 paying subscribers, and the growth target for next year, including international, is 45% in subscriber base and 40% in streaming revenues. And the first quarter looks good so far.
Yeah. So overall then, going from 530,000 subscribers end of 2017 to about 800,000 subscribers end of 2018, that's our target.
Could you please explain the change in the contribution margin year on year in terms of marketing spend, own versus external content, number of books listened to per subscriber, etc. In Sweden?
Yes, so the contribution profit has increased or become better during 2017 from around 30 to 31%, and that's mainly driven by our marketing relative to sales is going down a little bit as we are getting bigger in the market, getting higher brand awareness, and also having a higher subscriber base. And what we can see is that we have quite stable margins. And then if you look quarter to quarter, it can vary a little bit, and that's mainly driven by our own versus external market share, as you mentioned, Derek. And if we, for example, have a very strong title one quarter, our market share will go up, and then our margins will also improve slightly. When it comes to average number of books consumed by our consumers, it doesn't have that big of an effect, since our standard business model is the revenue share model.
And looking at our market position in Sweden, there was a report released a couple of days ago from the Swedish Publishers Association showing basically that the Swedish book market is growing by 4.2% now. So that's the first time in 15 years that you see growth in the market. You saw 2% the year before, but before that it's been slightly declining. And the explanation there is really the streaming services that are now picking up and driving the market up. And looking at the streaming market for 2017, Storytel had about 84% market share for the year as a whole. So it's a very strong and good market position, and we're now really looking at Sweden as one profit center, and we'll focus on improving margins slightly year by year going forward.
Moving over to the international business, could you please tell us which of the international markets are contributing the most to international growth overall?
Yeah, internationally we're now on actually 10 markets as this is recorded, but looking at the 6 markets which we have been running now for a while, meaning the Nordics, Netherlands and Poland, we can see that we have very good growth in all those markets actually. I mean in decreasing order of magnitude it would be that Denmark via Mofibo and Storytel jointly we have really good growth quarter by quarter. Norway has contributed tremendously in the past year, and now we see Netherlands coming up as a fairly substantial market that we have high expectations for this year. And also we have a good position now in Poland and in Finland to drive growth. I think in those markets it feels solid, it feels like we have a plan, we have really good teams, and the content catalog is also improving day by day.
You've been very active in launching new markets lately. Could you tell us how the initial response has been in your most recently launched geographies, Russia, India and Spain?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we have now a couple of really new markets, as I mentioned. It's India, it's Russia, it's Spain, and also only a couple of days ago Iceland, which is off to a very nice start. It's a small country, but where you have seen other streaming services, have been really successful. Spotify and Netflix have incredibly high penetration in Iceland, and it's the book has a very central role in society there and among people. But I mean, more interestingly, maybe for the overall growth would be if we could see that Russia or Spain or even in India, one of those markets would take off really big this year.
Yeah. And what we are doing now and feel really comfortable with now, then we have 10 markets. We have learned a lot during launching these 10 markets, and we now feel that we can actually be more aggressive in the marketing investments early in the markets. Usually we do a soft launch and we wait a couple of months, but now we are really pushing in both Russia and Spain now. So.
You've said that you plan to record over 5,000 audiobooks to a cost of roughly 200 million this year. Which of your markets will be prioritized in this investment?
Yes, so it's actually quite evenly spread amongst our markets. So we're now recording books in more than 15 languages. And in many of these markets, we are producing between 300 to 500 books. And what's important for investors to know, and we spoke about it before, but is that we are actually taking all of these costs directly in the P&L and not capitalizing it in the balance sheet. And that's driven basically that we have an accounting standard in Sweden, K3 or K3. So that might look different in the future if we were to change regulation. And we know that we are building a catalog and an asset here that will generate revenues for many years to come.
Yeah, and it's really, I mean, looking at the sales in the service, it's 60% is typically a backlist sales, meaning content produced more than a year ago.
Yep.
So I think that makes the case very clear for building up very strong catalog and investing money early on to get benefits down the road as the subscriber base grows in each market.
Okay, guys, thanks for having me. I look forward to talk to you again next quarter.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Derek.
thank you, Derek.
So to wrap up this, I mean, as you can see, we are really delivering on our promises, and I have a very good feeling about the company. I think the culture is amazing. There is such a thing as a Storytel culture when it comes to the company.
Yeah. And it's very nice to see that also we are staffing up now a lot, and that people come into the organization with this drive and get the Storytel culture quite easily.
Yeah. So yeah, full steam ahead. See you in a quarter.